Okay, hello. Can anyone hear me? Does this thing work? Are we live? Are we working? I think we might be. Let me transition the screen. Boom. Right. Yes, hopefully we're live. Hopefully things are fine and dandy. I'm going to have the stream chat open. Let me get some music playing as well. Got the brand new playlist, like I've been trialing on a couple of episodes before this. If you can't hear me over the music, do let me know, and I will change that. Hopefully, though, we're working. George can hear me. Good stuff. Right, I am trialing out quite a few things today in terms of the old setup. For a start, I'm recording this as well as streaming this, and the video, the VOD, whatever you want to call it, from this will be turned into a time-lapse and will go up as episode 63.5. Is this 63? No, this is 64, isn't it? Oh god. Whatever this number is, 0.5. So those of you that don't want to watch an hour-long, 90-minute-long live stream, you don't have to. You can watch the time-lapse instead. I'm also, because I'm streaming and recording at the same time, I am streaming at 5,000 kilobits per second at 1080p 60 FPS. I am recording at 10,000 kilobits per second, 1080p 60 FPS. And I'm using both my processor and my graphics card to do all the heavy lifting. So my graphics card is actually doing the stream, which is why I'm hoping you can hear me and see me right now. Or not see me, but, you know, see the stream. And the video is being recorded using my processor. And hopefully things will work nice and fine. I'm using 17.5% of my CPU right now. Doesn't tell me my GPU for some reason, which I think is a weird option. Anyway, good evening, one and all. Welcome back to the M4J network. Welcome back to a very broken and not working at all M4J network. For example... Oh no, you are actually working. Maybe I just have 3 trams here all at the same time. Oh, you are working too. What about you? One of these is not going to be working properly, I can guarantee it. Oh, you are as well. You're also running on time, which is also good. What about you? Oh, you're working too. Well, there we go. What do I know? One of these trains, though, I think doesn't work. You're working. You're working. Something wasn't working here before. Particularly around here at Munfingford, I had trains that were just... In fact, you can see the remnants of the queue. And it was going all the way back into the depot, and it was filling up the depot, and everything was broken. Basically, the same problem that I had with the GWR has now spread over to Guard City Great Northern, which is a massive pain in my massive arse. So I don't know how to fix that, because it's all to do with scheduled dispatch. For some reason, it's dispatching trains 6 hours too early. Anyone know why that might be? I certainly don't. So they sit in the depot here for 6 hours. Real-time hours, that is, by the way, not in-game hours. That's 6 real-life hours. So right now, let's say it's, what, 2 minutes to 5? Imagine there was a train that was due to leave this depot at 11 PM. It doesn't actually happen, because I don't run trains that late, but let's say that it does. It would sit there right now. It would leave this depot, it would go to the fake depot, and it would just sit there for 6 hours, stopping all the other trains from being able to access that track. It's annoying. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to fix it. In fact, if I come up the line here... We will get round to the episode in a second, by the way. I just need to get this out of my system. If I come up here to the airport, I can guarantee you there is a queue of trains because of you. It's always because of the bloody Guard City Connect. And here as well, we have a queue of trains. In fact, this might be the telltale... Yeah, you're fine. You? You're also fine. Again, one of these might not have a timetable. And that's where the real problems start. You. See, look, no timetable. There's no indication that this train is meant to be here. Apart from the fact there's a little arrow here next to where it says Munfingford Sidings. But it's just not... I can reset late. Sometimes that works. It's not going to this time, clearly. Anyone know? Anyone at all? Can anyone hear me? Hello? Chat's very quiet. And I bet up here as well. Oh no, you're actually okay. Oh yeah, I added that second platform. That's probably why you're okay. Anyway, today we are building the new line from Munfingford down to the south. Oh, my PC is struggling with all of this. It's not even old. It's a year old. Why is it struggling? I don't know. Munfingford. Where is Munfingford in all of this? So there's Fort Flonwood. So it's this way. Buntbourne. Munfingford. Here we go. Now I've just loaded the game up, so I need to open the plan list. I'm going to pause the game as well for a second. Boom. Right. So we are going to be building from here all the way down, or at least as far down as we can. I'd like to get to here. So we're not technically connecting up to Plenborough, because Plenborough, I believe, is this way. Yeah, so there's Plenborough Tarina, which is the terminus of the high speed. It's also the terminus of Bar City Commuter Belt South, or one of the termini, I should say. And then, yeah, this line comes out this way, loops around. I am actually tempted to build a junction this way as well, because this is the new line that heads up to Drentbourne. And then from Drentbourne, continues to head up to... This way goes to Tarnway and Funston, this way goes to Denston, and on to... Where does it go? I think this goes... Does this go to Tarnway and Funston as well? No, it can't do. Oh, this goes to Waterside Airport, I think. Goes somewhere. Or does this go to Cadingbury? Ah, yeah. This one goes to, not... does it go to Cadingbury? No, it goes to Buntbourne. All these lines. So many connections. I need to follow this one down again now. So, yeah, I think we should get started. Now, this section here... originally I built this for the waypoints, but because I'm now upgrading pretty much the entire network, I've decided to digital signaling, which in other words means just using signals for speed limits rather than waypoints. We don't need it. How awesome is that? I'm so glad that they added that in. It's a really nice function. Not the terrain thing, by the way, for controlling speed limits from signals. It's really handy. Really handy. Okay, so slow and fast. You must be fast. So this one here will be fast. Any rail news that's going on right now that we can chat about? It's not quite the first of the month yet. I know it's been a while since I've done rail news, and I know that in the viewer survey, a couple of people actually have asked about, is that coming back? Yes, it is. Is the answer? Yes, it is. It will be coming back. The first of the month is 2 days from now, so next week's episode, or even, because if I'm doing these time lapses, as I said, and they're going to be Tuesday episodes for the time being until I can think of something else to do for Tuesday episodes. Most of the feedback I got on the surveys was from the M4J network, so that tells me that it's still a popular series. However, the view count for this series is arguably one of the worst. So I'm a bit torn as to what exactly is going on. Not a complaint as such. It's more, it's nice to know people like it, but at the same time, where are these people? I don't know. I don't know. But hopefully we have a nice active chat tonight. Hopefully this video, when it goes up, will do well, and then hopefully the time lapse will also do well. But I am starting to get to the stage where I don't want to be known as the OpenTTD guy forever, because there will be a cutoff where this game starts to lose its popularity, and I kind of rode that wave with Cities in Motion 2, where for a while I was the only creator making videos on it regularly, and then the game's popularity kind of waned slightly, and then my channel popularity waned slightly, and because I was enjoying the game at the time, I didn't jump off the bandwagon when I had the chance to, and I feel like now even that's kind of costing me. Julian Epler, hello, welcome to the stream. I've not seen your name before, so very much welcome to the stream. It's always nice to have new people here too. But yeah, I still want to do OpenTTD in some form. But I kind of have this epiphany moment a little while ago where I set up my channel to do things that I enjoyed that no one else was doing. So, you know, Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 at the time was the game that I specialized in, if that's what you want to say. And that was the game where I got frustrated the most because not many people were playing it. So I thought, why not do it myself? Same with Football Manager, same with Cities in Motion 2, same with, you know, even games like Halo 3. I made some Halo 3 videos back in the day, and Call of Duty videos, which I'm never doing again. I might do Halo content again, because Halo Infinite's coming out soon, and it looks okay. It looks okay. I wasn't impressed, necessarily, but I wasn't sort of, what the hell's this nonsense? But yeah, I want to do videos that I want to watch. That's the thing. So as much as I care about what you guys think, and that's why I did things like the viewer survey, at the same time, some of the comments I got in the survey were people who, again, claimed to have cracked the YouTube algorithm. And if anyone at all ever tells you they've cracked the code, I can guarantee you with 125 million% certainty they haven't, because there is no code to crack. YouTube is not a Sudoku. You know, that it's not. It's not what people think it is. There isn't some secret handshake or something that you have to know in order to be successful. It's mostly blind luck. And if anyone wants to contest me on that, they're more than welcome to, and I'll happily link you my thesis that I wrote at university. I quite like it. It got a first, so it must have been pretty good. And I talk about monetization in YouTube there, and how it works and how it doesn't work, and also how to get noticed on YouTube, and how it really is a lottery. You just have to be in the right place at the right time doing the right thing. You look at some of the best Vines that went viral, none of them were planned to go viral. They all just went viral off their own backs, because they just happened to be really funny and came out at just the right time. And that's kind of where I'm at with not with funny Vines, because Vine's dead, but you know what I mean. That's where I'm at with my channel. I want to make stuff that I enjoy, and then hopefully through that other people enjoy it. And I think it's been pretty obvious recently that not everything I do I've wanted to do. But I have taken on board a lot of what you guys have said, and I do appreciate the fact that a lot of what made me popular back in the past is stuff that I have stopped doing since. And maybe I should get back to doing some of that as well. At least the bits of it I enjoy. But I like trying new things. I like being experimental. Things like the 3D intro, which I haven't put on this video, but I will put on the time-lapse. That's all part of just me playing around, experimenting, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. And I used to hate it when YouTubers said that, but I totally get it now. Because you do get bored doing the same thing week in, week out, and you do want to test yourself and you know, really push and try and do things that you wouldn't otherwise have done. And when it works, by God, is it satisfying. The algorithm, right, people personify the algorithm. That's how crazy it is. People assume the algorithm is a person that's out to get them. You know, the algorithm doesn't want you to be popular, so it makes sure no one watches your videos. And ultimately, it's these people refusing to admit that their videos are total garbage. That's why no one watches them, because they're shit. And, you know, I'm active on quite a few content creator subreddits, and I see people posting their videos and saying things like, why has this not got more views? And I just look at it, and it sounds like they're talking to you from the end of a tunnel. So the audio quality's awful. The video quality looks like it was filmed on a Nokia back in the 90s. And again, sometimes that works. It is popular. Some of the best videos from when I first started watching YouTube were from that sort of style, and some people like that retro nostalgia. So it does work. But don't post a video that's terrible and expect everyone to treat you like you're Spielberg, because it ain't gonna happen. I watched a video about how it works, and it's just based off what people like and don't like. Yeah, and the thing is, if you're making content that you don't enjoy, how are you expecting other people to enjoy it? It's one of those things. And again, bringing it back to OpenTTD, because I've gone off on a massive tangent again. If I'm not enjoying what I'm making, then I feel like it comes across in the videos. And, you know, things like OpenTTD, I like the game, but I don't always like talking about rail news. It's not my interest. I prefer to talk about things like football and the theme park industry. I have a lot more to talk about in those as well. So that's why sometimes in videos when people are talking about rail news, I'm kind of just like, yeah, because I genuinely don't have a response. Which some people take as being dismissive, but it's more I'm listening to what they're saying because they know more about it than I do. And I'm taking on board what they're saying, and you know, they listen to me like I'm an expert, and I'm trying to listen to them like they're the expert, because in this instance they are. It's a bot and is automatic based off your content history is what gets suggested. Looks like a Nokia from the 90s, quote of the day. I had a Nokia from the 90s, that's why I can say that. Yeah, I'm old. My first mobile phone was the first colour screen Panasonic. I'm 30 in 2 years' time. Can you believe that? I still feel like I want to be 22 again. Because I've rushed my 20s. And, you know, I was at uni for 6 years, which doesn't help. How many creators do you know that just waffle on about nonsense in their lives? But yeah, again, going back to my areas of expertise, I have a Football Manager video coming out this Friday, where I just play matches like I always do, and things like that. But I have another Football Manager video that will be coming out next week, where you really learn how much of a football nerd I can be. And I think I bore my family a lot with that, because we were watching the Newcastle game the other day, and they kept going on about Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andrew Robertson and their assist record. And I kept getting more and more wound up, and eventually I just exploded and said, they're fullbacks, who cares about their assist record? You know, it's like judging a welder on how many tangos he can dance. It's just a useless statistic. Absolutely useless. I also don't like Liverpool, so there's that too. But yeah, I do a whole tactics breakdown of my Hatfield team. And I think I might have got a couple of things wrong with it, because I've played some matches since and I've not won as many as I'd like. But, you know, you live and you learn. Your first phone was an iPhone, you spoilt child. I had to grow up in the... Well, not in the sticks. I had to grow up, you know, in hard times when Snake was the only enjoyment you had on your phone. Back when the internet used to make strange noises when you connected to it. And then if someone answered the phone whilst you were online, you got disconnected. Times were hard, man. Times were really hard. How did we survive those bleak periods? The first smartphone I ever had was a G1, which I believe was the first ever Android phone as well. Made by, I want to say HTC. I think I'm right. That was a hell of a good phone. I really miss it. I used to have phones with styluses. I kind of like your comments. Which comments in particular? I'm trying to be more comedic in my videos as well, because I know I've been quite downbeat. It was the stress, that was it. I had a really bad start to this year, as you know, and this year in general has just been a complete write-off. So I'm trying to be a bit more upbeat, positive, enthusiastic is the right word. I've been coming up with some really cool ideas for projects as well. Now I'm technically self-employed. I have an idea for my first video game as well. I'd like to try and get it out in the next 12 months. Because I've had the bug bite me for that. And hopefully I don't have the bugs in the game, because that would be kind of annoying. But yeah, I had an idea that I was working on for a company that shall not be named right now. And since part of me leaving the company was I got to keep all of my ideas, I would kind of like to develop it. The comedic comments. Well, thank you. I'm not known for my wit. Not on YouTube, anyway. I like being funny. I did contemplate open mic nights and stuff when I was at uni. Never happened, as you can tell, because I'm still terrible at it. that's not ideal. I kind of want to tunnel under Tutborough. Yeah, some of these more modern routes that I'm building, like the last route I built down the east coast, that's meant to be an old route, which is why it just bulldozes through lots of towns. And this one is meant to be a newer route, so it's meant to sort of navigate round towns. Well, I have a horrible feeling some bulldozing will still be required. Who are you asking, Julian? Who are you asking and what are you asking? Right. I had this moment the other day. It's why the last video was recorded in 2 parts, where I thought I was making really good progress. And I zoomed out to look how far I had to go, and I thought, oh, it's not that far at all. And then I zoomed out and looked at how far I'd come, and realised that I'd literally done like a quarter of what was meant to have been done. And I cried myself to sleep that night. Thank you, George. I do try. I surprised a lot of people last year, because the game that we were developing before things fell apart, I spent months trying to convince the powers that be to let me write some script. And I kept getting, you know, you're not the script writer, you're just the media guy, blah, blah, blah. And eventually, because of time limitations, they said, okay, go on, you can write this particular bit of script for this particular bit of the game. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to have some fun with this. And I would argue, they would disagree now because they're, you know, they're them and I'm me. But I would argue that I wrote the funniest part of the game. And I stick to that argument even now. I liked, and actually again, if I'm allowed to, because I don't think they're making that game anymore. I think they've moved on to something else. So, I mean, I don't keep tabs on them. I don't particularly want to keep tabs on them. So I have no idea what they're up to. But I would like to recycle some of what I did there, because again, I feel I own the rights to that. So maybe you'll get to see it after all, because I thought it was very, very, very funny. It's not very often that someone can say that whilst they're writing a script, they find themselves laughing at it. I really enjoyed that script writing. And I know for a fact that they enjoyed reading it as well. Plus, there's other things that I'd like to work on that are a bit more comedic. I know that someone reacted well to me asking Lewis Hamilton to spray me in the face in my F1 videos. So yeah, what was the question, Julian? If it was for me? What was the context? There's a delay on the chat, so I talk a million words a minute, and then someone refers to something that I said, 20 minutes ago, and I can't remember for the life of me what it was. So apologies for that. But yeah, I feel like this is the start of a new era, which was meant to have happened in May, but because I was ill back in May, that was still a weird. I still don't know what caused that. It's the worst. You have bad things happen to you, and you sit there and you think things can't possibly get worse than this, and then you wake up one day and you just don't know which way the ceiling is. That's pretty bad. Let's be honest. That is pretty bad. So I'm glad that's gone, and I can get back to working hard, entertaining all of you guys. Where should I build the station? I think I'm going to build it here. I was debating whether or not to have a junction station. Maybe I'll build one here and have another line that branches off this way. I have no idea where it would go, but it seems like a suitable place. It's right next to some major towns and cities as well, so you can build it like a parkway station. Some of these new routes will be used by the Guard City franchises: Southern, Western, not Eastern, because Southwestern, sorry. Southern, and then Southeastern will use the existing routes, so that doesn't need to be changed. I'm sorry, George, I know you work hard on the map, and every time you finish it I suddenly come in and go, by the way, this route's now going to do this. I don't do it deliberately, I promise. It's more me being indecisive. I felt like in two minds about asking someone to do the map because I knew that after a while I would start tweaking things. And I've been that person where you're waiting for the other person to kind of make their mind up about what they want to do, and I know it's frustrating. But there we are. I'm a pain to work with, clearly. I was going to build a station here, but I think I'm just going to have this continue. Because then we can have like a station here maybe, and then it'll go up the hill and along the top. So let's... oh man, my throat. Yeah, I talked for about 4 hours yesterday recording videos, so my throat. Wasn't there a line to Sanley idea put forward that interchanges on this line as well? Well, I mean this line ends at the junction to Sanley, so there could be another, but then that kind of feels like route duplication. That's another problem I have, is I say things in a video, like back in March I might have said something in a video, and I don't write it down, and I really should, because then, you know, we're now almost in August, and I can't remember what I said in March. Oh, never mind, Gillian. It might come back to you. So let's, hang on, since you've mentioned it. So this line comes down here, 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 and then terminates. It doesn't technically terminate, it continues here, joins up with the South Coast route, which then kind of runs backwards on itself a little bit. But Sanley is here, and they hate me. Why do they hate me? I suppose I don't run any trains here, that might be a reason. But yeah, I think there was something here, wasn't there? Oh, hang on. There's this one. That's a branch line. Maybe here we have a north-facing junction that would connect up to Charwood. So it wouldn't be used for GWR or Guard City Southwestern, but it would be South Coast trains that then come up and go through Charwood and maybe even go up as far as Fort Flonwood. Because Fort Flonwood is empty at the moment, it's a ghost town. We have the one cross-region service that stops here. We currently have two Western Reaches South services. One stops here, one terminates here. We haven't got any express trains yet running down here. And in terms of the third rail trains, we have nothing. Literally nada. So having some trains from Charwood that come up and terminate here, that would be cool. What I might do actually is, this is the route that runs to Charwood, isn't it? No, this is the route that runs to Charwood. So at the moment it comes up here and goes through Sledtown and Portfield here. But what I could do here is have it go straight up this way, cross the GWR here, and then join up over here. Because this bit here I would like to use a bit more as well. Because at the moment it only goes east and it just doubles back on itself, so there's no reason to have a train run from Guard City down through Fort Flonwood and then onto Cadingbury or Buntbourne, because Buntbourne here, for example, you can just take this route from Guard City and it saves you an hour. Did I pin it on Discord? I probably did. I need to check that. But yeah, there's lots of connections now that I would like to add to the network, because getting trains running is my priority. Getting scheduled dispatch working is my absolute priority. But then once I've finally figured that, and I still don't think there's a problem with scheduled dispatch. I think there's a problem with the way I use it. And I've read the documentation, which was written sort of 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and the functionality's changed quite a bit since then. So I reckon there's something I'm missing, and I would like to get that going again. Plus, again, referring to the viewer survey, if you haven't taken it yet, by the way, link is in the description, so feel free to do that. For those of you wondering about the timings of videos and stuff, the consensus at the moment is still up in the air. So I think I've had 12 people respond to it so far. I know I mentioned it on Discord, was it yesterday? I think it's 12. And you've all chosen different times for each one. So say there's 6 options, which I think there is for times of day. 6 of you, or 2 of you each, have chosen each option. So it's really hard to gauge what you guys want when you've all chosen different things. So I would like roughly 100, which is 10% of my subscriber base. I don't see that being impossible. And I get a nice round number then, where I can look at the data and say for certain, if 50 of you out of 100 want a video to go up at 5 PM on a Tuesday, then that's 50% of you. And if that's the majority, that will be the new upload time. So that will be the way I'm doing it. But I need 100 people to fill out the survey, and I've deliberately made it so you can only fill it out once. You can change your answers, of course, but you can only fill it out once, so you can't corrupt the data, as it were. I've actually had someone on Discord and then unsubscribed from me because I didn't immediately implement the changes that they demanded. And we kind of go back into that vicious cycle again of, why is your opinion more valuable than mine? I know I've asked for your opinion, but that doesn't mean I have to take it on board immediately and do exactly as you say. That's not how this works. I think I'm going to build the station here and then connect it up, because I get bored building tracks all the time. And I want to go a bit wild with this station design. Effectively, this is the size that it's going to be. It's going to be big. Because this I can see being a major junction station. There may be lines that haven't even been conceived yet that will end up running through here. So we're going to have a line that runs to the north, obviously. We're going to have this line that we're building now coming in from the northwest. There could well be one that goes out to the southeast, one that goes out to the south, and one that goes out to the southwest. This could even connect up to a line that runs from Charwood and then runs down to Sanley, because again, Sanley's a bit of a ghost town right now because we've got more platforms than we actually need. Where was I? I've forgotten where I... Here, there we go. It's one of the advantages of having these big brown fields. You can see where you are. So what do you reckon? Should we go for a split platform thing like we've done on the Great Western and up at Beffingway and places like that? Or should we go for something a bit more uniform like we've done on the East Coast? I like the idea of split platform myself because you have more flexibility for trains leaving and joining. What do you guys think? I'll start laying out tracks at least. Find out how many platforms we can have. So let's do this. 4, 5, 6, whoops, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So if we do split platforms here, that's 40. We don't necessarily have to do split platforms on all of these tracks, and I'm wondering if this is perhaps too big. George wants split. How big's Fort Flonwood Parkway? Because I still like the idea of that being the biggest station not in Guard City. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 28. That's Fort Flonwood Parkway is no longer going to be the biggest. I suppose we could do an Old Oak Common and just say it's the biggest one that was built at the time that it was built. And now there's going to be a new one that's going to be bigger. I don't think I'm going to make this a 40 platform station though, because that's going to be insane. To fill that, you would have to have a train arriving like every 3 seconds, which is just going to be, you know, unfeasible, I think is the right word there. Unfeasible, impossible. So let's go with something... I like the idea of 20 tracks. Let's say... So the fast line was on the west side, wasn't it? So if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 be the slow lines, and then go 1, 2, and then have these be fast lines that go straight through, and then have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then have these be fast lines that go straight through, and then go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That could work. You can have some terminus platforms and stuff here as well. This station is going to be incredibly asymmetrical, by the way. Apologies to anyone who doesn't like asymmetry. I love asymmetry. I think asymmetry is the new symmetry, in my opinion. What are we going to name this as well? Normally I would name it after one of these towns, but I think it should have a special name. Any celebrations come up recently? Not really in the rail industry. There's nothing to celebrate in the rail industry right now. Apart from the key workers who operate it, I suppose. But, you know, key worker town sounds a bit weird when you say it out loud. Let's go with something like this. I think we're going to have 7 tile long platforms here. I think I'm going to have this... Actually, no, I'm going to have this be a station building. Car park at the front here. I want to decorate things a bit more as well, and put some effort into that. And not be a lazy bum that doesn't do anything pretty anymore. It's one of the things I used to get complimented for when I did Cities in Motion, was everyone used to say, how do you make things work and look good? Whereas these days, I just make them work and don't care about how they look. Whereas I should care about how they look. Also, some of these tracks aren't going to have platforms. So, you and you... signals, sorry. You're not going to have signals. And then 1, 2, take you out. 1, 2. Now, technically, you should be taken out as well. Let's add an extra line. Renationalisation is close. Ugh, I did not want to hear that today. I found out today that the proposed takeover of Newcastle isn't happening now, so I've already had bad news. Please don't make it worse. I used to like Grant Shapps. I don't like him anymore. He's a bit of a... I won't use the word. But he's a bit of one of those, basically. Right, let's do that, and let's do that. Now, have I... let's take you out. I really haven't planned this out very well. I'm going to have to add another track. Okay, try again. Also, renationalisation is not something I would celebrate with a station name. Some people might agree. I'd say those people should snap out of the 1980s, because, you know, we're in 2020 right now. One, two, and then one there, and then you... That's right, isn't it? Yeah. And then you there. I'm going to do it like this. Actually, no. I don't need to do it like this, do I? What am I doing? Actually, no. I will do it like this, because I want to keep the main running lines free. So express trains can just blitz through. You don't need signals. Burp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you, and you. And then we're going to go there, gap, there, gap, there, gap, there. Done. with the greatest respect, no one can come up with a feasible way for it to work, I don't think. No one. It just won't. Because we're going to try and do something like we're going to try and copy the German system, or we're going to try and copy the French system, or the Italian system, or the Swiss system, whatever it might be. And the only reason those things work is because they stuck with it when the time was right. These days, I think it's too late to try and implement. It's like, okay, here's a bad analogy for you. It's like Mixer, okay? Everyone wanted Mixer to work. Even Microsoft, because they created it. Ultimately, though, Mixer didn't work, and Microsoft have given up on it. That's what I feel like the new version of British Railways would be. It starts off like Mixer, and we just end up with Facebook gaming again. And I don't see that as being a step up from where we are now. If I put all these signals in the wrong... I have, haven't I? Because I measured it from the wrong point, you dipstick. I just don't see it working. I don't see it working, and I don't see us having the patience to make it work, because we have all these campaigners who, you know, right now we've got people campaigning against High Speed 2, and they keep telling us to upgrade existing infrastructure because we're damaging the wildlife. But if we try and upgrade the existing infrastructure, we're going to damage more wildlife. You can't win. And these people are very quick to complain when things don't go the way they intended. And that's going to be what nationalisation is. And I don't particularly want to debate about it, because we're all entitled to our own opinions. We all, right here at least, have no qualifications to comment on it. I just don't see it working. I really don't. I want it to work. I want to find a system that works, but I don't think we ever will. Especially not, you know, until we have a massive rethink of everything. You don't go that way. Also, you don't go that way. This is the end. Not to mention the layoff mass. Yeah, exactly. Hello, Gert. Welcome. I haven't seen you for a while either. I'm doing this streaming thing again. I hope it's working. It seems to be working. Touch wood. Everything... Oop. Did not mean to press the spacebar there. It seems to be working. You know, everything... There's no smoke coming out of my PC or anything, so... Oh, my voice just broke then as well. Did you hear that? There's no smoke coming out of my PC. So I think everything is working. I think we're okay. How am I going to... Right. You're a fast platform. You're a fast platform. Let's say you're slow / fast. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, you are going to be one line going in one direction. You're going to be one line going in one direction. You're going to be the other. Then you're going to be the other. Actually, that doesn't work, does it? I think we're too far over. Let's not do that either. Let's do it like that. So, George, let me ask you an honest question right now. In the 80s, the economy was pretty terrible. Let's be honest. The economy was pretty terrible. In the 90s, when privatization started, just happened to be when the economy was starting to recover. Now the economy's on the slide again due to the world's largest global pandemic. What makes you think now is the best idea to get our government, who can't afford to invest in our health service, to invest in our rail infrastructure instead? That to me sounds like, as much as I love trains and railways, that to me sounds like it should be bottom of the priorities pile. It's... People talk about High Speed 2 being a vanity project, but for me, British Rail being revitalised, rebooted, whatever you want to call it, that to me is the world's largest vanity project. Because they just want something with the word British in to try and make us sound like we're not about to be isolated and struggling. It will fail. It will very, very badly fail. Or they'll do this weird hybrid system where it'll be government run, but they'll try and get private companies to invest in it, and then they'll wonder why no one's interested. It'll suck. It'll suck the life out of what was once a great piece of infrastructure. Some people might say I have strong opinions on the subject, and I do. I have very biased opinions on the subject, because it's something I genuinely care about. Whether they call it BR or whether they call it United Kingdom Railways or whatever it might be, it's basically, we know it's BR. It'll be BR wearing someone else's clothing. And it'll be dramatically underfunded. Horrendously underfunded. There'll be, like, look, think of all the new infrastructure and new rolling stock we've had. Whether it's worked or not, let's not go over that right now. But imagine that just stops. Places like the north of England suddenly have no rail infrastructure to speak of again. Imagine how bad that would be. I reckon we're halfway there. How am I going to build this central section? I suppose I can take out these. And have this be maybe bi-directional. Again, I kind of put this plan in the wrong place. Let's do this. Yeah, and then let's do this. Maybe I'll just make this bit not be... Like, you can only enter from one side. Have these be terminating... mainly used for terminating trains. Yeah, I'm trying to avoid that subject. I'm desperately trying to avoid. I had that rule for so long. No religion, no politics. But it just gets to a point where you think, actually, there's a lot that I can say here. But I don't want to, if that makes sense. Because I don't want it to become... Like, there are people I know who have very different political opinions to me. And whether they're friends, whether they're family, I don't want it to be they judge me or I judge them because of our political opinions. Because that's stupid. It's so stupid. It's just... It's stupid. You know, there's no other way of saying it. It's just stupid. So, I try to avoid talking about politics. Because, as far as I'm concerned, it's all terrible. And until we have to overhaul a lot of things before we can be satisfied again. But it's just stifling. It really is stifling. And again, you imagine that we have... Even now, we have one of the best rail infrastructures in the world. I wouldn't say that was a biased opinion. I'd say that's pretty truthful. You have things like High Speed 1, which is fantastic when it functions correctly. But then you have a government and an organisation trying to build a second high-speed line, and you've just got people that want it to fail. Both in and out of government. But we're not being innovative if we do that, because we will just copy what everyone else is doing. We'll send people who shouldn't be leaving the country right now, let's be truthful. We'll send people to Switzerland, to Germany, to France on taxpayers' money to just go and look at their rail system and go, oh, that's what we should do. And I don't think it'll fix anything, because, you know, the Deutsche Bahn, for example, has been developed over generations. And that's why it works, because they gave it the time. Plus, I mean, again, not to dwell on the past, but they had an opportunity during the early 1950s, let's say, where they had to rebuild a lot of their infrastructure from scratch. And they took that and they ran with it, and they did a bloody good job with it. We don't have that. You know, we don't have an opportunity to completely destroy everything we've got and rebuild it from scratch. And I hope we don't have someone who offer us that opportunity either, because that wouldn't be particularly fun. So we're going to be trying to crowbar someone else's system into what we've already got. And you look now, we're trying to rebuild stations and people are complaining about things being closed or trains being diverted, whatever it might be. Can you imagine if we did that with the entire rail structure at the same time? Because you have to do it at the same time for it to work. Otherwise you'll have half of it on this system and half of it on that system and it will still fail. It's a living bloody nightmare. There's no right or wrong way of doing it, but we will find the wrong way of doing it. I'm very much... I like new things. I like innovative things. Don't get me wrong. But I'm very much a case of just, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Don't even think about touching it. And what we've got isn't broken. It just needs a bit of tweaking here and there. I think that's perfectly possible. You build a new high-speed line, for example. You reduce capacity on the... or demand on the West Coast main line, and then you can upgrade it, and then you can improve the system there. But you always have to do an alternative. It's like when they build dams, they divert the river first and foremost, build the dam, and then bring the river back. That's what you're supposed to do. Britain missed the express. I like that analogy, actually. You can't really say we missed the boat, because we're talking about railways, but yeah, we missed the train. It left without us. You look at history again. We had the opportunity to rebuild London after the Great Fire. Did we? No. We did the exact same thing all over again and still buggered it up, which is why we now have things like the North Circular that really wasn't built for road traffic, but we try and fit cars on there anyway, because why not? Jay Foreman does good videos on that, about how we just screwed everything up when we had the opportunity to make a real difference. And you even look at the borough system of London and how broken that is. The county council hall, or town hall, county hall of Surrey, isn't in Surrey. Hasn't been since the 1960s, I think, because it's now technically part of Greater London. How is that a thing? How has that happened? Yes, we got there first, now we are the worst. Football, cricket, golf, tennis, you name it, we invented it, and then we completely bollocksed it up. You can quote me on that. I might even put that on a t-shirt and sell it. How's this station looking? I think it's looking alright. To try and get back on topic. I think this is looking okay. I swear a lot more in my videos now as well, you might have noticed. Since Copper came in, I thought, why even bother trying to make my videos extremely family friendly? Because the last thing I need right now is to be accused of making videos for kids. And then lose the monetization status that I technically don't actually have yet, but will hopefully have in the not too distant future, provided my watch time gets up to 4,000 hours. Everything has to move out of the way for fast trains. By moving the height to high speed 2, you can dramatically increase capacity. Yeah, the South Circular doesn't exist. It only exists by name. And occasionally a road sign that says, here lies the South Circular. But beyond that, it doesn't exist. How did I build this bit? So you come out of there and do that. Oh. No, I did do that right. Oh, I know what I've... Okay, yeah. So you do this first, gap. Then you come down, gap. And then you come across, and then you come across. There we go. It is, yeah, it's quite big. It's quite big. Is it too big? Ah, you can't have too big. This is the M4J network. We do everything Texas style. We just slap a world's largest symbol on it and shout yeehaw at each other. How did I do this one? Goes across, gap, across, gap, across. There we are. I was going to make a really good point right now. Oh yeah, high speed 2. I could talk about high speed 2 for hours, for days even. So, over here we have environmentalists. And I actually sympathise with them. You know, I want them to achieve their goals. But there comes a point where you've got Chris Packham, who is trying to lobby a legal protest against high speed 2 on the grounds that we should just upgrade our existing infrastructure. But I know what will happen the day we cancel high speed 2. Everyone will go, but you've already spent £6 million on it, or whatever it is. There's also the fact that we had to tunnel under the entirety of the Chiltern Hills because people were complaining about it being a natural area, natural area of outstanding beauty, I think they call it. And we didn't want to damage the wildlife, we didn't want to damage the trees and everything like that, which again I'm on board with. But we've now had to build 23-mile-long tunnels under these hills, and the cost has probably doubled because of that. And do you know what the first thing they say is? It's too expensive. Well, yes, that's what happens when you have to tunnel under these things. If we were just allowed to bulldoze the trees and the birds that live in them and build the route straight through like we wanted to, we wouldn't have this problem right now. I don't mind Chris Packham most of the time. I think he's fine. I think he's harmless. But there are times where he drives me up the frickin' wall. And this is one of them. And there's other people like Robert Lindsay. I loved My Family growing up as a kid. It was one of my favourite TV shows. And, I've watched him in other things, and I think he's really, really good. But he's campaigning against high speed 2 as well, and he's one of these people that also argues about how we should just upgrade the West Coast Main Line. We've been doing that regularly for the last 25 years, and it gets to a point where you have to say enough's enough, because, we've quadrupled it in places. We've built new double-track main lines. We've electrified it. We've brought in things like the Pendolinos. We're now bringing in the new Avanti trains. It's the most used route in the UK. There comes a point where you've got to take some trains off it for it to continue to grow. Yes, every train on the network has its own dedicated platform here at this new station. How many have we got? 827 trains. They all have their own platform they can stop at here. Also, what train are you? Oh, yeah, you're the Blue Lagoon. Forgot about that. I don't think I've shown that on a video yet, actually. The trees they move will retain the soil so it retains its nutrients. Yeah, I mean, we have to protect our wildlife. I'm not saying we should bulldoze everything and kill everything like I do on here. But there's no compromise. That's the thing, there's no compromise. Sometimes, in order to evolve, you have to do the necessary evil. And we do live in this world now where people just want to protest. And there are genuine things going on right now that need to be protested against. And a lot of that is kind of getting swept aside because people want to protest about high speed 2 now. Or they want to protest about a new motorway that might be being built. Or they might want to protest about how wearing masks takes away our freedom. But these are the same dickheads who in 10 years time will be saying, why is the M25 so congested, whilst they're trying to drive to their latest tree hugging convention. Hello Chris, welcome to the stream. And I don't want to talk down to environmentalists, but that is literally where we're at right now. They want to go to a convention, they want to sit under a tree, sing Kumbaya and smoke weed. That's what they want to do. But they drive there because they're hypocrites. And they get stuck on the motorway because it's congested, because they protested about a new motorway being built that would have eased congestion. Like the Central Line in London is at capacity. Crossrail will alleviate that. Many people still are protesting against Crossrail because of the constant delays, which isn't helping it, admittedly. But you have to build it, you know. And actually, I like that point from Pete Waterman that no railway that has ever been built had a justified reason to exist. And that's why when BR first came around, they inherited so many duplicated routes, and one of the reasons why I think beaching was necessary at the time, because you had, like, the Midland would build a route, and then the LNER would go, do you know what, I want to run my trains there too. So they would then build a route, and you end up with this just cacophony of rail routes that weren't needed. And we're kind of there now, in a way, when you think about it. Crossrail isn't needed as such, but it's being built because it will take stress off the central line. They basically run next to each other for the entirety of the route when you look at the maps, but it's needed. Stop complaining. Build High Speed 2. Build it right next to the West Coast Main Line if you have to. Literally have it so there's just a fence separating them, and you'll see what difference it makes. Bloody hell, Taiwan. Oh, I went global a long time ago. I checked my analytics. I have people in all kinds of countries. I used to love, again, when I worked for a company whose name I will not say, I was used to the idea of, you know, people in Singapore watching our videos, but it would always blow their minds when I would read out the analytics. It's like, oh, we got really big in the Ukraine this week, and they would just be like, okay. I love it. I love it. Everyone here is welcome. Doesn't matter where you're from, what you believe in, everyone here is welcome. Because at the end of the day, we all have a similar interest. Clearly, today it's railways, because that's why we're all here. So welcome one, welcome all. Let's make this accessible to all, this station as well. Yes. Yes, and we are getting to that stage where we're getting left behind. South Korea has a TGV ran high-speed railway. They built it, or at least some of it, they built for the Winter Olympics last year, and now they're using it for normal purposes. A lot of it's single track. I always find that weird. I can't get that in my head. A single track high-speed railway. Like, to me, that always screams like rural branch line. I've never liked single track main lines. You look at the Honeybourne route, for example, where GWR runs up towards Worcester. That, to me, should be double track. Yes, High Speed 1 does do that. It does, yeah. It runs alongside... Is it the Tilbury line? It runs alongside. No, it can't be. Is it? It might be, actually. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, it runs alongside. When it comes out of the tunnels from Stratford, it runs alongside the route there. I think it's cool as well, if you're on board a train and you like railways, to look out the window and see a high-speed train go past. I think that's cool. But yeah, so many countries around the world now are getting high-speed rail. And we... Like, how long ago was High Speed 2 first suggested? And we're still debating it now. They've started building the damn thing, and we're still debating about whether or not it should go ahead. How screwed up are we? Just realised I don't need these two lines here. How screwed up are we that that's the situation we find ourselves in? Also, technically don't need these two lines here. Or this one. In fact, do I need any of these? I probably don't. Or this one. What's the time? Coming up to 6. Okay. Wow, I've only been going an hour. I thought I'd been chewing your ears off for ages about this. That's good news. I will have to go at... I mean, I'm going to try and make this... I was going to do 90 minutes, but that's not going to be very much, is it? Unless I stream the rest of this next week, of course. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Hit the like button if that's what you want to see. Because I have a... It sounds so sad when I say it. I have a virtual pub quiz tonight, which I've been doing for the last few weeks. There's a company called Redtooth, if you're not familiar with them. They are pretty damn good. They normally do pub quizzes in pubs, where you go, you get a piece of paper and a pen, and you write down answers, and in our case, you win quite a bit of money from it. But because of the lockdown, they've developed an app. I think this is really clever because they have started doing this in live events as well, which is awesome. So they've developed an app that you log into the quiz using a PIN number that's given to you on the night, and then it logs your score. And you get speed bonuses. So if you're one of the first ones to answer the question, one of the first 3, in fact, to answer the question, you get either 3 points if you're first, 2 points if you're second, and 1 point if you're third. At the end, if you're tied with someone, how fast you answered the questions determines your final score or your final result. So I came third in one, and I think I was tied with people down to 7th, but I was obviously faster than them, so I finished above them. That's the highest I've ever come. My brother came third as well the other. Actually, he might come second, thinking about it. And he won some vouchers to Marston's pubs, so we're probably going to go there when lockdown ends. But I love doing pub quizzes, and this is really cool. So if you want to check that out, it's on the Red Tooth Smart Quiz YouTube channel. If people want a London-style frequency north of London, we need to move fast trains onto new dedicated lines. Yes, we do. I actually, again, speaking from personal bias, because I live near it, I wouldn't like to see the East Coast Main Line have that kind of thing, because the East Coast really isn't as congested as the West Coast, so I think there is still capacity there. But then, saying that, when I'm at Hatfield waiting for the train, there is like an HST or something that goes past every like 30 seconds. Maybe it is at capacity. But yeah, all of the main lines out of London are getting upgraded to ECTS. I think level 2 they're getting. What would be cool is if they made Thameslink ATO throughout its entirety, or at least in the northern sections. Because that would be the next step, wouldn't it? As well as in-cab signalling, actually have automatic train control as well. Yeah, High Speed 1 has it. High Speed 2 will be having it. And then we're getting what's called the Digital Railway, which I think is a really 80s name for it, where we're getting in-cab signalling. And actually the US have had in-cab signalling for about since the 80s, in fact. So again, we're behind everyone else. I don't see why that wasn't... Like, I know the Intercity Express trains have the capability of being upgraded to have in-cab signalling, but I'm amazed they didn't come with it to begin with, and we didn't just upgrade everything then and use that as a good excuse, because that's how you redo a railway, isn't it? Or at least it should be. Could just be my way of thinking again. I was talking about pub quizzes, wasn't I? Oh yeah, I have a pub quiz at I think it's 8:15 tonight, so I want to get ready for that, because it's the last Thursday night one they're doing, but they still do one every Wednesday at 5:45, I want to say, and they do one every Monday at 7:45. And they have special guests on as well, who I normally beat. I am officially smarter than Mark Lebet and Sean Wallace, because I've beaten them every week for the last 6 weeks, I think. Okay, how am I going to connect this? I think there's going to be a station here at Little Drenborough, and then we're going to separate the lines. The slow line is going to swing round here and join this one, and then this fast line is going to be the one that joins up. I thought the Netherlands were quite advanced. I mean, you look at the Germans. They have, is it PZB and is it CIFA? Or at least it shouts CIFA at you on Train Simulator when you accidentally go through without pressing the button. the number of, because again I follow the Train Simulator Reddit community. The number of people who complain. I might start calling complainers con people. Nah, I don't think that'll go down well. The number of people who complain about these systems basically screwing them over when they're trying to drive trains is quite funny. And I laugh because I know it would screw me over too. But yeah, what systems do they have in the Netherlands? It's all the high-speed routes in France are ECTS. It's where we copied it from, because again we're completely unoriginal. Even our Eurostars, the original Eurostars were TGVs. The new Eurostars are Valeros. They're ice trains, basically. Ice trains, they're a little bit longer and have slightly higher ceilings so you don't get claustrophobic in the Channel Tunnel. Village. Oh, do you mean Vigilance? Is that what you meant? I know one's like the Dead Man's Handle, isn't it? And then the other one is like AWS. Or are they both AWS? You also have... I used to hate this as well, but I can kind of see the benefit now. You have like the hertz things in mainland Europe, so your train can only operate at so many hertz. So basically it's like speed control. But I never understood why you would measure it in hertz and not just kilometers per hour or something like that. Because what if you're on a hill? Surely you want that power if you're hauling a heavy train. Maybe I've misunderstood it. I've probably misunderstood it. How does it work? ATB new generation and ETCS level 2 and 3. What? So we're getting level 2, aren't we? Which is just in-cab signalling and no line side signalling. What's level 3? Is that where automatic train control starts to come into it? I should have researched this more. Should have researched it more. Also, I've just realised I've built this station like this. Maybe I should have built it with proper canopies. Made it look a bit spectacular. I take it, George, that's lines that have closed, not because of the events of this year, but lines that were just closed anyway. My effing... This is a really weird shaped station, actually, when you look at it. It's really weird. It's almost like the... Is it the Netherlands that has the rail symbol like this? I've been to the Netherlands. I've been on trains there as well. I cannot remember. I know it's yellow and blue. It's the colour scheme. And I know I can't pronounce the name of the Dutch railways. But beyond that, I don't remember much. I really should. I like the Netherlands trains. Isn't it? Don't you have like the... Is it called the Bison? Because of its shape, it looks like the front end of a bison. I love double-decker trains as well. I think we should have them over here. We have this stupid loading gauge, which is a remnant of Victorian times. It means we can't have fun with double-decker trains. When I went to Switzerland, went to Geneva, and sat... Like, you do that thing when you're a school kid. You sit on the front of a double-decker bus. Sit in the front seats. To do that on a double-decker train is just awesome. It's so cool. I really wish I could do that here. But you have to rebuild everything to make that work. The VIRM, yeah. See, in Europe, why do we want to leave Europe? They do everything right over there. Most of the time. Most of the time. Cannot think of a plausible reason as to why we've done what we've done. And there will be people watching this that disagree with me, and that's fine. But, you know, I grew up in the 90s. I'm old enough to remember a time before things like the Euro existed. I remember going to places like France and having a good time. And now, in a couple of years' time, won't be able to do that anymore. Means extended inter-region trains. Yeah, just the whole system. You've got the regional trains, you've got the inter-regional trains, then you've got the international sort of regional trains, and then you've got the international express trains. You have a whole system worked out, and to my knowledge it works really well. Over here we've got crap trains, slightly faster crap trains, trains that sometimes show up when they're supposed to, and the IETs. Which again, sometimes show up when they're supposed to. I really like the idea of having this slow line tunnel through here, in fact. That would be cool. Yeah, Oliver Bullied designed a double-decker set of carriages, but because of the loading gauge here in the UK, they weren't conventional double-deckers. So it wasn't like you have a door at each end and a staircase at each end. It was literally you have one compartment on the lower floor with its own doors on the sides, and then you had another compartment that was slightly diagonal to it above, with nothing underneath it because you couldn't fit anything underneath it, maybe storage space or something like that, and you had to have like a ladder to get into it. So on paper it could have worked, but in practicality it was awful. Bullied had some weird designs as well as the genius ones, I've noticed. I like the steam locomotives he designed. Most of them. I'm not a fan of the Qs. Is it the Q7s he built? The really ugly ones. I know why they were built, and it's a very practical reason, but they just aren't pretty to look at, let's be honest. They're like the cousin that no one wants to talk about. Yeah, there's those. They might have worked. Who knows? It's a bygone era now, though. For sure. I think they were electric as well, the Bullied ones. I believe they were. Right, we are signalling this. So I'm going to do this differently to how I've normally built these lines, which is normally I build the whole line, then I signal it, then I build the stations. Whereas because we've got this big junction station along the way now, I'm going to build all of this, signal all of this, section, I should say. Build this section, signal this section, build the stations on this section so George can add them to the map. And then, oops, I should not have done that. And then I'm going to stop the stream here, and then, well, not here, after I've done that. And then next week, because I'm very happy that the software appears to have worked, although I haven't watched the recording back yet. I did a test of the recording before I started this, and it seemed to work, so we'll see. But yeah, next week we'll finish this off, or do the next phase of this, and then the week after that, I suppose we'll finish it off. And then we'll add trains to the East Coast, to here, and everywhere else on the network, in fact, where I can. And I'm going to try and do it properly without breaking everything like I've done previously. Trial and error. I like trial and error when it comes to railways, don't get me wrong. Again, the railways themselves were trial and error. When Stevenson designed the Stockton and Darlington, was it Stockton? I should know this. It wasn't Stockport, because that's near Manchester. It must be Stockton and Darlington Railway. Google. Yeah, Stockton and Darlington. I thought I got that wrong because it was two TONs at the end, but no, it is right. But when he designed that, and then thought, do you know what, let's take that thing that James Watt designed, turn it on its side, and put it on wheels, that was an experiment. And, you know, things like the rocket, even, was an experiment. And I think, actually, not to blow my own trumpet, but I think the M4J network is a good example of how it was done back in the day. If you build something that's not necessarily perfect, and then slowly over time you refine it until it is exactly what you want it to be. And that's what this is, because things like the Realism Initiative, for example, that was a goal to try and make this a bit more realistic, hence the name. And, you know, it's slowly being refined and tweaked and changed according to what I think, according to what you guys think. And it's getting to a point now where it's starting to pay dividends. I feel it is, anyway. There are still people that want to complain about it, though. There will always be people that want to complain about it. Right, Munfingford itself, so Munfingford Paragon is here. I believe it used to be a bit more this way. Munfingford itself, I do remember saying this on stream, is now finally going to have a station built next to it. And this is kind of going to be like a shuttle thing. So you get the train from Munfingford to Munfingford to change onto a faster service. So you might have to have a few slow trains, or even semi-fast trains that use the slow lines, actually stopping here at Munfingford so that people can get to Munfingford Paragon. It's quite picturesque, this station, actually. It's in quite a pretty location, right on the water's edge. Let's go with this shelter. Speaking of people coming up with ideas and stuff, does anyone have any ideas for after we've done the trains? What kind of things you'd like to see? I'm always open to new ideas. I definitely want to get trains running now though, because the company is still losing money, that I can show you. We are losing what is known in the industry as a shed load of money every year. This construction hasn't helped. But it's the new vehicles actually that's costing me the most money. And right now the train income is nowhere near as high as the train running costs. And we kind of need the trains to be profitable to offset what's happening with the aircraft right now. So I would like to be rolling in money is what I am getting at. And I am still toying with the idea of setting this up as an online game, so that people who are patrons can come on and run their own franchises, hopefully without me having to hold their hand. That's the plan. I know, again, on the survey, someone did say that they wanted to be a patron, but they didn't have the time. Sorry, I'm just lining this up properly. They didn't have the time to commit to setting up routes and things like that, and that was what was putting them off. It is optional. You don't have to do that if you're a patron. If you just want to support the channel as $1 a month, whatever it might be, you're more than welcome to do that. It's only really like if you want to be a higher tier. I just came up with that as an idea for a reward. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. I'm not going to sit there with a gun to your head and force you to do it. That wouldn't be very fair now, would it? So I hope people haven't been put off too much by that. Because as I said, it's meant to be optional. But yeah, I like the idea of having people come on and run their own stuff. Because then I don't have to. I can, as long as it's done to the same style as the rest of the network, I can kind of just leave you to your own devices at that point. I hope it doesn't all come crashing down. Things like the GWR, for example, it'd be cool to just see that run by itself and not have to constantly be micromanaging it like I have to at the moment. Because that's not ideal. I should build all these stations to a similar design, really. I keep changing things up. I like changing things up, though. What do you reckon? Top of the hill? Or bottom of the hill? I would build it here, but then the machine shop's in the way. So I think it's going to have to go top of the hill. Maybe halfway up. Why did I make these so uneven? I can make this one 5 tiles long, I suppose. Let's go with the planter, stairs, sign, shelter. Imagine there's benches under the shelter. What's the stream been like for you guys? Has it been quite stable? I think it's done all right. Again, touch wood. I think it's done all right. So I'm learning how to do these things a lot more. Things like setting up streams. Because I used to just think, it's plug and play basically. You set it up in a certain way and it's meant to just work. But that isn't how it works. In fact, that's not how you do it. I think that's why I kept having the tech issues before. Now I understand things like using the GPU and the CPU to do separate jobs rather than have one rely on doing everything. Stable. Good stuff. My favourite word. Not strong and stable. That can do one. Just stable. There we go. Trutborough. I think I called it Tutborough earlier. It's Trutborough. I will name these in a second as well. I can tell you're on Illustrator already, George. Just waiting for the station names. And actually, now this is being built down to this station, one of the first things we can do when we start adding trains is start adding trains from Guard City down this way. And properly set up the... I guess this would be Guard City Southern. Because it technically is... At least from Guard City down to Buntbourne, it's due south. Munfingford's a little bit west. Just trying to think, actually. I suppose you could do southwestern down through Fort Flonwood, down to Buntbourne, double back to Munfingford, and then head south this way. That's a hell of a trek, though. Building that new route from Fort Flonwood to connect with this line would be a good idea. I think it would be a very good idea. Alright, that's that one done. And one more here at Fenhill. Oh, there's a couple more. I thought this was the last one, but no. Again, have I put this in a really awkward position? I suppose I can move this signal over one. Actually, if I move both of these over, I can build a 6 tile here. So I imagine this is going to be quite a heavily used station. So you guys happy with me going back to streaming this series? I've always liked having the live feedback when I've been doing this. Guard City Southwestern, Guard City Southern, and GWR as a maybe. What, for this route? GWR... Oh, actually, I did kind of say that, didn't I? Maybe to GWR. South-western would go at least as far as here. If we build this, say this becomes the new line that connects up to Fort Flonwood, which is... Actually, it wouldn't be, would it? Or would it? I suppose it could still be. What did I say it was going to do? I said something. Oh, Sanley, that was it, wasn't it? Sanley up there. So yeah, the Sanley route line goes up to Fort Flonwood. That could be west, just southwestern, I suppose, and have that connect up to Fort Flonwood. But maybe have a Guard City Southwestern train that also runs down to Charwood, for example, and then from there, perhaps a little bit further south. I do like the idea of connecting. So that's Munfingford there. Maybe have this as an east facing. So go from here and connect up to this route that then goes down to Denston and beyond. Like through Timeway and Funston and places like that. Because then that can technically... Okay. Let's say we did that. It can then run through Timeway and Funston and then becomes the Network Central line up through Bathurst Street and beyond. That could work. So I don't know what franchise that would be yet. Might have to come up with another new franchise. Problem is I've got way more franchises than patrons. So I do need to kind of fill the old patron jar as well. So there we go. I don't bang that drum very often, but if you are willing to become a patron or interested in willing, that's not the right word at all, is it? If you are interested in becoming a patron, feel free to head over. The link is in the description. Check out the tiers, see which one suits you. Even if you only do $1 a month, I do not mind. You will become part of the Patreon family. You'll have access to all the Patreon-only videos. What else? Oh, you'll get your name, again, depending on the tier rewards. I can't remember exactly what tier it starts at, but you'll get your name at the end of episodes. and things like that. As I'm sure George can attest, it is quite a nice thing to be signed up for when it's functional. Right, and that's the last station. So, names. Anyone want to come up with a name suggestion for this big station here, or shall I just leave that one for now? I'm going to name these ones, though, as oops, as I'm doing this. So I think you should be Munfingford Town. We'll do the old GWR thing of if they're so Kidderminster's a good example. Kidderminster GWR station and Kidderminster or Severn Valley GWR station, Kidderminster, and the Chiltern one that's also I think used by West Midlands trains. They're right next to each other. But the GWR one, when it was built, is slightly closer to the town centre by like 50 yards. So it's called Kidderminster Town. And that's what they used to do, the GWRs. They used to put town in the station name if it was just a fraction closer to the town centre than the rivals. And that was their way of getting people to use their station instead. Very devious. Very devious. So we've got Munfingford Town. Plardinghall. This here is going to be Munpool. I mean, the town's called Munpool Bridge, and we're about to go into quite a long tunnel. So, I kind of want to call you Flanwell. Oh, Flanwell's a horrible name for a town. Humptington. Maybe not Humptington. South City Junction isn't a bad one. It's kind of surrounded by cities, though. I'm actually going to do a bit of a naughty thing here. I'm just going to call this Munpool Bridge Tunnel, because that's going to confuse people. And boy, is it a long tunnel. By the way, yesterday, when I said there was going to be something going up on the channel today, at the time I was thinking of doing like just following a train on a route with little captions at the bottom telling you what was happening. But I actually thought that would take longer to do than a normal video, which is why I scrapped it and decided to do the stream instead. But I am still on that idea of doing, you know, following trains around particular routes with little captions. There's a guy, who is it, that does it on Simultrans and does a good job with it. I'm trying to remember who it is. I am subscribed to them as well, so I have no excuse to not remember their name. But I like what they do with theirs, because they have little histories of the routes and all sorts of things whilst they're doing it. So I do like that. Sorry, I'm stuck on YouTube now trying to find the guy's name. So I might do something like that, but I'll have like a progress bar at the bottom so you can see how far along the route the train is. I'll also have you know, little captions coming up with the history, the fake history of the route. This one's Trutborough, the station here. Little things like that. I might need some help doing the maps though, but now we've got the route map, the overall network map. I can kind of use that and crop it to my purposes, and then make my own like tube style maps at the bottom of the screen, because I can do the animations and stuff for that, no problem. That is something I have learnt to do. Nundworth Old Town, I'm going to call this, just to have a little bit of flavour to it. You here. Fenhill North. Yeah, I'm going to keep that name actually. You're going to be Gredington Parkway, because you're outside the town actually, so we'll need a bus company to come in and make you worthwhile. I might not have train stop here to begin with. Once someone becomes a patron and takes this area as their bus franchise, then we'll add buses here, and then we'll have train stop there too. Little Drentborough. How many cities have we got? So let's say Rinningbury, Drudingworth, Ladworth, Caningbury, Frondborough Bay, maybe Slinhill City at a stretch. So let's say it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it had to be 6, didn't it? I was going to say we'll call it like Quinn City Junction if there's 5 of them. So let's make it 5. Let's take Frondborough Bay out and just call this Quinn City Junction. Is it double N for Quinn? No, I think it's 1, isn't it? Sorry, if it was if it was 6, it would have to be Sex City Junction, which just wouldn't go down well, would it? I mean, some people might like it, but not appropriate. And then if it was 7, it would be Sep City, which sounds like when something goes septic. Quinn City Junction, that sounds good, right? Because, I mean, Sluddingbury is technically a town. I mean, Ladworth is technically a town as well. So let's say it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those 5 that this station was built to serve. Or it was originally built to serve Rinningbury, let's say, and then over time it's expanded and now it's Quinn City. Someone help me with this backstory, please. It's Quinn City Junction. Let's settle on that. It's Quinn City Junction. And that is the 90 minutes up as well, so I should probably start wrapping up this stream. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you those in the chat. As always, having an active chat makes this streaming malarkey so much more enjoyable. So I appreciate all of you here, not just, you know, talking about random politics and stuff, but also engaging in what's going on the screen. There's been some nice things said today as well, so I appreciate that too. Hopefully you've enjoyed the stream. If you have, be sure to smack that like button as hard as you possibly can. The harder you hit it, the more I know you like the video. That's how it works, right? I think that's how it works. And also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, be sure to do that. If you're watching this on playback, so what I am going to do, I said this at the top of the stream, but I'll say it again now, so those of you who missed that will hear it here too. This is being recorded as well as being streamed. I'm going to take the recording without the chat, the logo, and the music at the bottom. Oh yeah, what did you think of the music as well, by the way? Let me know that. I'm going to take the just the raw footage of the game, and I'm going to turn it into a time-lapse video, which hopefully is going to go up on Tuesday. So if you don't want to watch an hour and 30-minute streams, you can watch the time-lapse that will then go up on Tuesdays. But this will still be going up as a video after this as well. I'm just going to let it process and upload whenever. Normally I queue it up for the next day, but I don't really see a need to do that now. So it will go up when it goes up. So if you're watching this on playback, thank you for watching. Feel free to drop some comments down below. Let me know what you think of the route here so far. Let me know what you think of the network so far, the stations, the names. If you have a better name for Quinn City Junction, do let me know. And yeah, like I said, subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you guys for your continued support. It's always appreciated. Feel free to check out the Patreon page as well, because you never know, you might want to become a patron. I know times are hard right now. So if you can't do it, that's totally fine. Some people have already said that in the survey, and I totally understand where they're coming from. But if you can do it, awesome. If you want to become a franchise holder or just want your name and the credits, feel free to do that. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And until next time, I will see you soon.